Hi and welcome to AFTV. I've got James B with me. We've just won 4-1 against Leeds at Ellen Road. Very, very happy with today's performance, James. I'm just gonna throw a stat at you, and I know you're the stat guy, but this one surprised me. I was just flicking through
Okay.
before we went live. Do you know we had I believe so I've got it down here. We had 49% possession and they had 51. That one
What,
just threw me.
across the whole game?
The whole game.
Wow.
So let me just speak. What do you think of today's game? And just on that, did it look like Leeds? I didn't think they dominated us at all. I can't believe that possession stat, even though the score was 4-1.
I use stats a lot, but I always try to give context to them. I usually use stats to back something I've seen rather than use them to form an opinion. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you use them to form opinions, that's not what they're there for. They're there.
Yeah,
You have an idea. You think, actually, let me see what the stats say, and if they back that, fair enough. Yeah, it probably was pretty even in terms of possession stats today because we were away from home, and at times, especially in that second half, we allowed them to just get on the ball and have a lot of it and try and work their way back into it. But obviously, we dealt with most of it apart from the penalty moment absolutely fine. The what was impressive about Arsenal today wasn't the moving of the ball around. If anything, we were a bit sloppy at times. It wasn't the way we picked Leeds apart, we moved them here, then we went there. People will feel like that's what it was, but all that was is Leeds man marking and following our players everywhere they go. It was suicidal. It was diabolical. I can't believe that's how they played the game. So one thing Arsenal have done quite well under Mikel Arteta is pass and move, really. We don't really open teams up that often. They just allowed it to happen because of the way they set up. So yeah, they had an absolute shocker today, Leeds. Absolute shocker. And what I really enjoyed from Arsenal, though, was that they were clinical and they took advantage of those openings and those moments. It was more that, we saw the space in behind. We saw the spaces open up because their centre-back follows Lacazette or whatever. And we played the passes to capitalise on that. So while I'm saying that, Leeds were terrible, I'm not discrediting Arsenal at all. They smell blood and they like a shark in water. They could smell it and they capitalized on that, and that in itself is very impressive because we've not done that all too often, really. So well played. Arsenal did what had to be done today.
Yeah, well said. And obviously, we spoke about stats there, but we had 12 shots on target today too. I think that shows the dominance of Arsenal. I wanna kind of look at how well Arteta is really kind of kicked into gear. This process is you're starting to see it. I know we've questioned many a times, but the youngsters are thriving, James. It's a joy to see. And I've questioned the experienced players, but for me today, Xhaka, he had a good game. There was a moment where he could have been red carded. I mean, I've seen them given, but apart from that, he was very good today.
It
An experienced
was
player.
good.
He was Lacazette as well. He missed some chances, but to me, still very good. And Partey, I think, another experienced player there. As much as I think he wasn't so prominent throughout the game, but those experienced players are starting to step up around the youngsters who are really leading the way. It's a really joy to see. Are you starting to see that from Mikel Arteta? And do you have to give him his props for today?
Well, yeah, you've got to give Arteta credit for always getting a response out of some of the defeats, and you think, "Oh, this is the end," and he seems to get a response. Went out to Villarreal and managed to win the next 4 or 5 Premier League games, so they clearly keep turning up for him. The Aubameyang situation on 3 occasions, dropped against Spurs, dropped against Southampton, stripped to the captaincy before West Ham, gets a good response every single time. You could even say today as well, we had it announced yesterday or whatever that Aubameyang is no longer training. He's basically, whether it's his choice or whatever, he's kind of been banished from training. He's just using the facilities for himself till AFCON. That's another bitter pill to swallow. And again, the team turned up today. So he doesn't fail to get a response out of these players and a reaction and a level of concentration. I imagine there's a real humility to a lot of these players as well. Let's start with Lacazette. I mean, a cynic would say he's playing really well because he's playing for a contract, in the summer, a big chance to get him. I think you get that level of fight every single time from Lacazette, if I'm honest. Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Odegaard, I think there's still a degree of whether the process is right or wrong, whatever. I think they still just love that they're playing for Arsenal, and kind of that is something as well. I'm not trying to discredit Arteta here. I think they're playing for him, but I think he's also just built a very good culture of players who kind of understand what it means to play for Arsenal. And now I've spoken so much that I've even forgotten what the question was. The process. Arteta, Everton was so bad, but he's responded perfectly, in terms of these three performances.
Yeah.
Let's just hope it carries on. I'm so bored of the am I in, am I out, whatever. If you're
It's
asking me,
frustrating, isn't it?
honestly, like gun to my head, honestly, would you upgrade the manager if you could? And that's the key word, upgrade. Yes, I would. But I've got to give him the props for the foundations he's put in place, what he's done with the club. I think what he's done as manager of Arsenal is better than what he's done as head coach of Arsenal,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's done some fantastic work, undoubtedly he has.
100.
But there's a long way to go still. There's a really
Definitely.
long way to go.
Definitely, I think there's a long way to go. Definitely, you have to give him his props to say that like he stuck to his non-negotiables. We saw Saliba come out this week and say that, like you said, he's a nobody, and he had to remember that Arteta taught him that. He's letting big players lose their capacity like Aubameyang. He's set a precedent, and the players seem to be buying into it. So hats off to him. But like when he's been bad, it has been really bad here. So not many people, I believe, are fully convinced yet. Let me just ask you a big question that he's got to kind of answer for the next game against Norwich. Martin Odegaard or Emile Smith-Rowe, like who starts for you, James? I know we're looking a bit forward now, but Emile Smith-Rowe's come off the bench twice and scored. Everyone wants to fit them all in the side, but it can't be that. Do you think Emile Smith-Rowe deserves a start in the next league game, or do you say, you know what, you need to understand, Emile Smith-Rowe, there's going to be a lot more games, and we need you. We're going to need your participation, but not right now. I can't change this winning formula.
He doesn't deserve to start right now.
Whoa.
Because Martinelli, Odegaard, and Saka do. And Smith Rowe's level on goals with Ronaldo and doesn't take penalties, by the way. So Smith Rowe is having an amazing season, and I love the guy.
Yeah.
But as I said on Full Time with Lee, just sit back, relax. Take this as a little bit like when we have a bank holiday, where you're just happy to have just that extra day off or that extra bit of time to relax. Just chill. When you're called upon, you're scoring goals, and that's an amazing feat in itself. But just relax. Your time will come. Someone will need a rest. An injury, unfortunately, will come at some point. And that's it. But for now, you stick with the three that are starting and delivering.
Yeah, 100%. Now, before we wrap up, because we coming to the end of this, let me just quickly get your final take on: is this is this the chance where Arsenal can get that fourth position? Is this the best season for it, in a sense that there's no Europe, there's no midweek? We can capitalize on that. Teams are obviously, unfortunately, they do get injured. Players are getting injured. Is this the season where Arsenal could really capitalize on that fourth spot position, or do you still think, I'm not convinced yet? It's too early to say.
It's a great chance to do it, but despite everything, I stand by what I said, that West Ham have been very impressive this season, despite the recent lull. They've beaten some big sides. United have the best players of the lot in the run. Spurs have the best manager, if we're being honest. So I asked after Everton, so what do we have? I think the answer is we've got the best youngsters, but that doesn't always equate to top four. There's a lot of great things happening at the club, but there's still a lot of work to do. So the opportunity's there, but we'll see.